us, please, everybody. All right. It's the NFL Presidential Address Championship Week. Second last show of the season, and what a fun season it has been. Matthew Joseph with us at Mid-Major Matt, Ralph Michaels at Cal Sports LV. And Matt, we'll go to you first. How are you? How was your week in the NFL, and any news at all that we should know about, minus cutting your hair and looking just so damn good?
Mixed bag. Had a couple of games that I called pretty well in terms of the props. Was excited to see Mike Evans get shut down by Marshawn Lattimore once again, so that was good. I had the semi-right idea with the Devontae Adams under stuff. I believe his yards hit, but his receptions didn't. Ramsey didn't follow him all over the place like I thought he would, and plus they scheme him open in so many good ways. But looking forward to this week. Doing really well in college basketball, 63% run in the college hoops.
Nicely done. Ralph Michaels, how was your weekend?
Weekend good. Finally turned the corner in college basketball. I did have a 5% loser last night, but still 13-3-1 run, and looking forward to a great championship week and continued success in college hoops.
He's Ralph Michaels, Matt Joseph. Guys, a quick update. We're not going to do a show next week, but if Ralph and Matt are available, we'll do the Super Bowl show on Monday a week. We'll figure out the time. And we're going to have Andy Lang join us for that show. So it'll be the four of us, Matt Joseph, Ralph Michaels, myself, and Andy Lang. And really the reason is, Matt, you and Andy are just so good at these prop bets, and there's going to be so many prop bets bet on the Super Bowl. I thought we'd stack the table on the NFL Presidential Address. So let me know if you guys are free for that Monday. And no show next week. As for me, I won my 5% play on Saturday, but I had a 2-2 NFL weekend. 15-5 in my last 20 NFL picks. I've got a 5% play up for you guys for Sunday. It just went up a few hours ago. I have a coupon code I'm only giving out on the NFL Presidential Address. So get $15 off of my NFL 5% play. It's up now. Use the promo code Prez NFL15. That's Prez NFL15. And don't sleep on my hockey, guys. I've started the season 10-3. Matt and Ralph are killing it in college basketball. I'm killing it in hockey. We got a bunch of guys. Ron Kabang, Ski Profit, Pavlos, just killing it in NBA. We got you covered in every single sport, that is for sure. Boys, 1-1 in our consensus plays last week, 22-20 on the year. We'll aim to do better next year. It was a juice losing year, if you will, but hey, we still got three to go, I guess. Let's get straight to it. Green Bay -3, -120. A lot of 3.5s on the board. So, frankly, if you like Tampa Bay, you can take your 3.5. If you like Green Bay, you can have your 3. Over and under 51. It has moved slightly. There's been a couple of 50.5s here or there, but it's pretty stable at 51. Matthew, I'll go to you first. What do you like in this game? And I also got some props I like, too, we'll talk about a little later.
So it's interesting that both of these games were getting rematches. And so there's at least a little bit of data from the first matchup now. We'll get into this more with the Bills and the Chiefs because weather was a factor in that game. But earlier this year, we saw the Bucs dominate the Packers 38-10. And you look at some of the statistics there. Aaron Rodgers gets sacked 4 times. He does not throw a touchdown pass, has 2 interceptions. So this is the type of thing that in Aaron Rodgers' head, he's going to want big-time revenge. Tom Brady threw 2 touchdown passes. Ronald Jones had 2 touchdowns rushing. So those are some of the things that came out of that first game. We saw Ronald Jones say he's feeling 100%, so that'll be interesting to see how they split him and Fournette. I think it really comes down to if Jones drops the first pass, Brady's going to yank him himself. So we'll see how the split carries go there. The thing I'm looking at here is the Packers are really good in the first quarter and the first half. They are the best team when it comes to first half scoring, 18.7 points per first half. They're averaging nearly 20 in their last 3 games. Correlate that to a Tampa Bay team that's one of the worst in the first quarter in football. They average allowed 5.9 points per first quarter, 13.2 points per first half. So I look and I see Packers 13.5 in the first half. I'm looking at the over there. Look, I understand that the weather could be a factor. It's going to snow. It could be cold, yada, yada, yada. But Green Bay doesn't care. So I'm looking at this over 13.5. Heck, I might even look at the over 6.5 for the first quarter. I just think the Packers are going to win this game. I just think the revenge angle from earlier in the year, obviously the revenge angle doesn't play as much as, hey, the Super Bowl's next, but it's still an angle. You've got Tampa Bay on the road once again in the elements. I know Brady won't care about the elements. Gronk won't care about the elements, but there are other players who will. And I just trust Rodgers in this situation. And the other thing I want to throw out here to you guys is, we know how much the Packers are a public team. Who's more public, the Packers or Tom Brady?
For sure Tom Brady is. We actually had Arthur DeCesar on WagerTalk today, and he was talking about that exact point. So many people have won or lost on Tom Brady. But, the revenge factor, Matt, it is interesting. It's something I don't pay a lot of attention to. But another factor which is sort of in the revenge family, if you will, is there is one guy out there that's still playing, that is just fed up with the Tom Brady, he's the greatest of all time routine, and that's Aaron Rodgers. I think we're going to have an absolute massive game by Aaron Rodgers. I love the over 13.5 in the first half. That's actually been money all year. I also like Green Bay minus 2.5 in the first half. I like Green Bay on the game. I like the over on the game as well. I think the Saints are a very flawed team, and we saw that against Tampa Bay last week. Drew Brees is right to retire. His arm is finished. But I don't think Tampa Bay really looked all that phenomenal either. I think Green Bay is the toast of the NFC right now. Aaron Rodgers, just money. Aaron Jones played outstanding as well. And, Devontae Adams, he had a lot of receptions. Didn't quite get the yardage you wanted or I wanted, but I think he's going to have a big game too. We'll talk a little bit about the props for that soon. Ralph Michaels, what do you like in this game, brother?
Well, I don't think Aaron Rodgers thinking about Tom Brady has anything to do with how he's going to play in this game. What I do think the revenge situation does help is the team that didn't play well can make adjustments. Tampa Bay played about as well as they could play. What adjustments can Tampa Bay make to say, this will help us against the Packers this time? Probably nothing. What adjustments can the Packers say that'll help them play better? There's a lot of things. Last week I mentioned I actually liked New Orleans last week and lost. But we talked about Brady being 0-5 against the spread this year when he's been sacked 3 times. Well, he was only sacked once against New Orleans. They didn't get pressure. Tom Brady was able to be a good quarterback. Now you look at the Packers. The Packers have sacked teams 3 or more times, 9 times. Big edge to them. Let me run down some TNA guys. Home favorites in this round going back to 2001, 56%. Home teams at home in the championship round since 2013, 8-4, 67%. It's tough going on the road 3 straight times. That's why wild card teams hadn't won the Super Bowl in how many years until recently when that happened. Teams like Tampa Bay that played each of their first 2 games on the road, only 4-14 straight up, 5-13 against the spread. Another fade for Tampa Bay. Teams that weren't in the playoffs last year, like Tampa Bay, they only won 7 games. Facing a team that was in the playoffs this game, that a 5-11 record. I'll keep going, a few more. This is one I mentioned last week. This is courtesy of Mark Lawrence. If your home team in the playoffs went to the championship game like Green Bay did last year, they are 34-15 against the spread. If your home team went to the championship game like Green Bay and their opponent is off a double-digit victory, just like Green Bay was against the Rams last week. Those teams are now 23-3 against the spread, an amazing number. So you're looking at those situations. A few more that are going to back Green Bay here. Teams, when a quarterback threw for 55% or less in each of his first 2 playoff games, like Tom Brady did, and he's on the road, only 5-10 against the spread, 33%. I like Green Bay and I like the under.
Ralph Michaels, Matt Joseph. Let's keep talking about this game, Matt. I'm going to throw out a bunch of props. I'm betting every single one of these. I'm betting the under in Gronkowski. Just too many weapons. And we see Cameron Brate getting a lot of that. You made a great comment at the beginning of the year. Gronkowski in the red zone. He'll be a guy that Brady looks for, but we're not really seeing any long passes to Gronk. We did see one last week. It did not connect, but I like under 29.5. Gronk, I like over 63.5. For Mike Evans, I like over 88.5 with Devontae Adams because, well, Ramsey ain't going to be on the field. And I like Lazard over 46.5. We saw a great performance out of him last week. I also like Aaron Rodgers over 2.5 plus 140 in touchdown passes. And I like Aaron Rodgers over 284.5 in total passing yards. Pretty Green Bay heavy there. The real difference ultimately is, with Fournette and Ronald Jones, I've gone blank, Barber. With Fournette and Barber, it's a two-headed monster coming out of Tampa Bay. As far as who's going to get the catches in Tampa Bay, man, it could be one of many, many guys. So a little harder for me to play there. I do like Suckup over the total in kicks as well. That was money last week, and I think it'll happen again. Matt, I just probably handed out 10 props, give or take. What do you like, bro?
Well, I'm looking at the weather because obviously weather comes into play here, and it looks like right now, and it's Wednesday and the game's Sunday. 29 in snow showers, 4 to 6 mile an hour wind, so wind shouldn't be really that much of a factor. I definitely think that Mike Evans is the type of guy, and we've seen it when he's come off of these games against Marshawn Lattimore, that they feed him as much as possible. And you could see last week he was frustrated. I'm pulling up his game log now to see. When you look at earlier in the season, so week 1, he faces New Orleans. He gets 1 catch. ESPN had a bunch of ads up. 7 catches the next week against afterwards. So he's the type of guy who's going to get a lot more love. You know who I actually like is I think Scotty Miller.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen the last couple weeks, he's had a single-digit total. Now, he's only going to get 1 catch, but I really think that Tom Brady enjoys throwing it to him. So if we see Scotty Miller props, you could see the over there. Devontae Adams is interesting. I'm not going to do the under for receptions again, but the under for yards might come into play because you're going to once again see everybody betting the over on everything when it comes to props. And just in case you missed the show last week, if you like the over on a prop, get in on it as soon as it's getting popped up because the number is going to change. The juice is going to change. If you like the under, wait until Sunday. I made the mistake on Sunday. I gave out the Mike Evans under now, and they won anyway, and whatever number you would have gotten, you would have won anyway. But I waited in Sunday morning and put the number up. By the time kickoff came, it went up a bunch more yards. So I would say if you're going to take an under, wait as close to kickoff as possible and take the under because you'll get a ton of yards or you'll get plus juice on a lot of these props. The Aaron Rodgers touchdowns one you mentioned, that's almost a must take. Even if it doesn't win, you're not getting plus 140 value for something like that. Tampa Bay's secondary looked better than it was against New Orleans. I mean, Smith looked better. Carlton Davis looked better than he's been all year. He's not going to be able to do that. Lazard, I like Lazard. MVS is a big.
Well, he needs 1 catch to hit over 30.
He does, and he's going to get opportunities. Robert Tonyan always comes into play. My one concern about MVS is if he drops one, Rodgers is not going to throw him as much. But as you said, 1 catch. So that's a couple of my thoughts on the props here. If you like the overs, get in on them the moment they come out. If you like the unders, wait literally up until like an hour before kickoff and take the under, and you'll get maximum value on them.
Yeah, and also real quick, Mike Evans 2 touchdowns or more, so that's plus 900. Look, we saw Brady target Evans last week in the end zone a lot. Didn't connect twice. I did make that bet and lost it. But at plus 900, I think that's a legitimately good bet, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, we have to watch out for Antonio Brown's status this week.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown and how much he practiced. He was barely used last week. Now, Chris Godwin, I have to look and see how the Packers are against slot guys. Godwin gets a lot of receptions too, but I mean, I know they're going to feed Evans, and you know that he's going to get one touchdown. He's just going to body up his corner like he did Lattimore for his touchdown last week. It feels like whenever Evans is underused, he's always overused the next week.
Hey, Prez, I want to jump in with not any props because I haven't done them all year. I'm not going to jump in and do them now. There are some in the Super Bowl I like. But I do want to caution the people viewing this. Green Bay at home allowed 59% completions. Green Bay on the road allowed 70%. The fans last week were loud. Tampa Bay has not played behind fans, and those fans will make a difference. You look at Tampa Bay's road games this year. 5 dome games at New Orleans, at Las Vegas, at Atlanta, at Detroit, at New Orleans. The other road games, early in Denver, early in Chicago. They played the Giants early. Their only 2 road games, their only road game that had any bad weather was Washington late in the playoffs. So you've got a situation where Brady, they averaged 417 yards on the road and only 350 at home. Those 417 are very skewed because of the domes they played, the artificial turfs they played, and when they played and without any weather. So you be cautious when you're looking at season-to-date numbers for Tampa Bay because those numbers are very, very skewed relative to what you're going to get this weekend.
That's a great point, Ralph. Guys, there's no props up yet that I can find at any of my outs on the Kansas City game. So we're going to have to skip that, but we'll grab it on WagerTalk today on the Friday show. As for that game, listen, I'm going to talk about that game as if Pat Mahomes is going to play because, honestly, I expect him to play. He was practicing today. He's passed a lot of the concussion protocol tests. And, one of our chat guys, if you will, today on WagerTalk today made a great point, and that is it might not be Mahomes' concussion that's the problem. It could be his toe. With that said, I don't mean to be as square as a square man can be, Matt, but I'm going with Kansas City and the over. I know Kansas City hasn't covered in 9 straight games, but this is a -3. Look, I think the Bills are incredible. I've been touting the Bills all year. I would not be blown away if the Bills won this game. But we see throughout time, and you've mentioned this many times, Matt. Ralph, you mentioned it, last week with the Cleveland Browns. The transition, from a losing culture to a winning culture and the steps teams take. Buffalo might win next year's Super Bowl, but this might be the last step they take this year. So assuming Mahomes plays, I like Kansas City -3, and I think it's going to be a shootout. Matt, Joseph, where are you going in this game?
Well, I think one of the things, so we go back to that game October 19th. The Chiefs won that game in Buffalo 26-17, but it was wet. It was rainy. If I remember correctly, I think it was on a Tuesday, which obviously throws some schedules off because I believe that Bucs-Packers game was on a Monday, and that was the day before, so it was a Tuesday. Mahomes was really good, 21-26, 225, 2 touchdowns. Kelsey did his thing, had both touchdown catches. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 161 yards rushing. I mean, that's not going to happen. Josh Allen, 14-27, had 2 touchdowns passing, had 8 rushes for 42 yards. Beasley and Diggs caught the touchdowns there, but once again, neither side really expanded their passing horizon because it was a wet and rainy game, and it was on a Tuesday, so I imagine that threw some things off. A couple of statistics that stood out to me: the Buffalo Bills are number 1 in first quarter defense in the NFL, allowing just 2.9 points. And I know Ralph has been touting a lot of the season, the first quarter under in Chiefs games. And look, if Mahomes is not 100%. I don't know necessarily what they're going to set the rushing numbers at for Mahomes. I'd look at the under there potentially. But, I mean, I think there's a chance that they try and establish the run. I'll be interested to see Clyde Edwards. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire practiced today. And they like Darrell Williams. And I think there's a chance that we see a slightly different Chiefs team. They're not going to not throw the ball downfield. They're not going to not throw it to Kelsey and Hill and all that stuff. But I wonder if they come out, feeling it a little bit and trying to poke and prod and see where these Bills' weaknesses are. And maybe we see them score, but it was matriculated down the field. And also, the other thing to consider here is Harrison Butker's missing extra points. So even if they score a touchdown, they could still miss the extra point. I'm looking at potentially the first quarter under here. You look at Buffalo, they're third in the first half in scoring, 15.7 points per first half, 16 points average on the road. Their team totals around 26.5. There's a part of me that thinks this is an under, but I don't know. Like, you ever get one of those feelings where you think something's an under, but you can't really explain why? Because they're two really good offenses, but I have this feeling the Chiefs are not going to be the Chiefs we saw last year. Not 100% Mahomes against a decent pass rush. They're okay. So I think the Chiefs win. I kind of lean to the under, but I really like this first quarter under, as I feel like both teams kind of feel each other out early on in this one.
Matt Joseph, everyone. You can find him at sportsmemo.com. Follow him on Twitter at midmajormatt. Ralph, Matt makes a great point, and it's not that we're going to see a new Kansas City with them running the ball as much as Matt is talking about. I think we've already seen that transition take place. I think Kansas City is mixing it up a lot more than they were last year, and they are relying on the run a lot more than they did last year as well. Ultimately, that just makes them more of a balanced offense, and I think more of an opportunity for them to score more points, because when you got Tyreek stretching the field, when you got Kelsey sitting 20 yards down in the slot, and you're running the ball on a regular basis, I don't know where the Buffalo defenders are going to stand. But Matt, I do agree with that concept. They are going to run the ball more. I just don't know if that's going to keep them under the total. Ralph, what do you like in this game?
Isn't perception funny, Prez? You look at KC and you think, oh, they're running the ball so much more than last year.
They're not, probably.
You know how many averages they had? They averaged 24 carries last year. They averaged 25 carries this year.
Yes, one more.
They averaged 100. One more carry. One more carry for 9 more yards per game. That's it. The thing is that the offense, this passing game, is just so much less that you notice the run game more. So the run game was actually the same. The pass numbers just shrunk to make the run numbers look bigger. So. You know what, guys? It's the championship series, and I would love to talk for 45 minutes on why I like a game and why I like a side. I'm not going to be using a side. KC's 0-9-1. Prez, your theory about their offense can turn it on any other time is now long gone bullshit.
What do you mean long gone? Hey, stop. What do you mean long gone bullshit? I said they were waiting for the playoffs, and then Mahomes got injured. Come on.
He got injured. You got to know who your backup players are and make that part of your thought statement.
So my theory was based on Chad Henne coming in.
Well, come on.
Let's talk next show, Ralph.
He played game 16, Anyway, Buffalo's covered 9-1. You have Josh Allen with a 40-10 ratio. The rush game is there. I'm gonna watch the game. I'm gonna enjoy. If I had to make a bet on it, I would bet on KC on the money line. I would lay the juice, because if it's going to come down to winning the game, then yes, I would want Mahomes as my quarterback versus any other quarterback in the league, probably any other quarterback in the history of the league. And I like the under. I think both teams will run the ball. Remember the third quarter adjustments we talked about last week's show that KC makes? They've been dominant in the third quarter historically. The Browns did move the ball, but we saw also KC's defense allowing the Browns to run, an 18-play drive? I mean, it's going to be hard to go over if teams are running double-digit drives. So if Buffalo can play those long drives and have that short passing game and get the running game going a little bit, like I said, I would play KC on the money line, and I would lean under.
Ralph Michaels, everyone. You can find him at WagerTalk.com and on WagerTalk today, every day, 12 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel.
Can I disagree on one thing
I'm
there,
about
Prez?
to disagree on a lot of things, but you go first.
So So Ralph, I'm looking here at Devin Singletary, who had 10 carries the last 2 games of the playoffs. He had 3 carries, 10 carries, 8-7 his last 6 games combined. If you take the last 4 in the regular season, the first 2 in the playoffs. Because I'm looking right now at a book that has 39.5 rushing yards for Singletary. That was one of my easiest wins last week, was the under for Devin Singletary. They had a quarter where they only ran the ball once. And so to me, I'm not ready to go and start betting on the Bills to run the ball. I'm more saying that the Chiefs are going to nurse Mahomes a little bit, because that turf toe is going to be a little bit of a hindrance. And if he's not 100%, Andy Reid just said he's not cleared for contact yet. Now it's still only Wednesday, so we're still time away. And I think this could be a Saturday type of thing. Here's my question to both of you. If they say Mahomes is definitely in, is this line going to move off of 3, or is this what it's going to be no matter what?
I asked Arthur DeCesar that today on WagerTalk today, and I think it's baked in already at 3. I think it might move to 3.5, but it's go ahead, Ralph.
I think it moves to 4. If they say Mahomes is 100% healthy, I think late money, you're going to have public money on KC. There is no public money on the Bills Mafia. That's it. You have Buffalo betting Buffalo. I think if you want KC, you bet him right now. And I also think this: if he's practicing today, then he's passed every concussion protocol they need. I got a question for you, Matt. What's the Josh Allen rushing prop? With as much as he's ran the ball the last couple weeks, I mean, he's ran at least 3 times every game. Ran 7 times last week, and 10 or 11 the time before.
So the one book I'm looking at, it is 32.5, which he obviously only had 3 yards rushing against the Ravens, 54 against the Colts.
Yeah, that's damn high.
I'm on the under
so
on that one.
During the regular season, I'm looking at the Chiefs now. They gave up 27 to Watson, 83 to Jackson. They have 42 to Allen in the rain game, but of course it was a rain game, so therefore they probably ran him more. And then Darnold had 21, Tua had 24, and Teddy Bridgewater had 19. Those were the ones who did the best against Kansas City.
But none of those except Lamar ran as many times as Josh Allen.
Right, it went Jackson 9 carries, Allen 8 carries, and then Watson 6 carries.
Yeah, but Ralph, we've also seen Allen's rushing attempts go down, and what Matt said was exactly the point I was going to make. I mean, the Bills went a whole quarter with rushing the ball once. I think they came out. I think their first 14 plays or something were passing plays. I understand that teams, when playing Kansas City, are trying to stay on the field and keep that Kansas City offense off the field. It really doesn't work as well as you would think. And ultimately, Stephon Diggs, I mean, he's going to get his yards. I'll be betting the over in Diggs anywhere up to about 100 yards. I think he's going to have a very big day. And again, look, run. Please set up that play action pass. With Tyreek Hill on one side and Stephon Diggs on the other, we're going to get 2 or 3 touchdowns that will happen fast. The other thing is, I think, especially from a Buffalo perspective, that 4th and short is going to be a crucial down in this game for both the side and total. Teams just don't want to punt that ball to Kansas City. We saw Cleveland make a huge mistake doing that last game. I think we're going to see Buffalo go for it around midfield or closer. Anywhere from 4th and 3rd down. So watch out for that. Ralph, any last things you want to talk about? And then you, Matt?
Well, I'm looking just because the Josh Allen intrigues me. Let's remember, he ran 14 times against the Jets, 8 against Kansas City, 11 against New York, 10 against New England. And then they didn't have to run him because they had the big lead. So, you go back to look when they had the win, he was running that ball 10 or 11 times. So it's not what you expect of Josh Allen because it's not what we saw late. But when they needed him to win in those middle games, the KC game, the New England game that they had to win that first time, and then against Seattle, he was running that ball 8 to 12 times a game.
Guys, what a show. What a year. We got the Super Bowl show coming up Monday a week. Ralph Michaels, Matt Joseph, myself, and we're bringing Andy Lang on as a guest. Ralph, what did you want to say?
Oh, I thought you were saying goodbye, so that was my goodbye pen. Sorry.
Matt, you got something to say?
Well, you were going to come back to me one more time.
I
was
am
going to add something else.
I am. So go ahead,
okay.
Matt. And I'm going for a
No,
nap after this show.
No, so you brought up Stephon Diggs, and I'm looking at the regular season when it comes to the Chiefs. The Chiefs have only allowed 5 100-yard receivers this year. Mike Williams, Calvin Ridley, Curtis Samuel, Henry Ruggs on 2 catches, and Will Fuller back in week 1. I actually think this week Diggs could be more of a receptions guy than a yards guy. There's something about this Kansas City secondary that it's not great, but they've, in terms of fantasy points, they allowed the 3rd fewest fantasy points to wide receivers all year. So I feel like this could be more of a receptions week for Diggs than a yards week.
That's a great point. Guys, I think we have one consensus play. It's Green Bay. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful stuff. Everybody make sure to grab my 5% play in the NFL for Sunday. $15 off Prez NFL 15. Ralph, what do you got to promote?
Nothing. Had 4 college basketball plays. One's already gone off, so my package is off. College hoops again. I had a 5% loser yesterday, and for all those on, thank you, and I apologize it's a loss. But, again, I say this all the time. I'm happy when people get my 5%, but I am much happier if you try a 3-day package and get an experience of period of time instead of basing it on one play. I love the write-up. I love the game. I still love the write-up. I still love the game. And for those that, we don't hide behind our 5% plays. I say this to anyone that didn't get to play. It was on Winthrop yesterday and they lost. Go to WagerTalk right now. Go to my homepage. Look at the last 20 plays. Read the write-up. See if you would have bet it the way I wanted to bet it, and then you decide. So, it's easy to criticize the loss, but we know in hoops, you have 19-year-old kids playing the game, so anything can happen once that ball gets thrown up where some kids just play poorly one day and some play well. So, continue on. We're going to have a great college basketball finish. I told you, it's my year of vengeance, and it's still happening.
Matthew, anything to promote?
I mean, Ralph would know better than I am, but there's a great deal at Sports Memo where you get all the handicappers on our website for a great price for this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You just sign up and you get everybody. And so, I want as many people to support me, but there's a lot of great people on Sports Memo's website. And I think it's one of the best deals this website's ever done. As I said, 63% in college basketball around right now, and I've got a 4-pack up there on my website. But if you ever wanted to give us all a try, you can do so this weekend.
Matt, that was Johnny Detroit, a half a bottle of vodka
no doubt.
when he decided that frickin' special. I'll tell you what. So you're right. It's a lunacy crazy special. So do check it out. Good job mentioning that.
Yeah, he sent me a picture of the bottle. I'm the Prez, guys. Hit that like button, please, and make sure to comment. We're the 3rd most watched show on our channel. It's a privilege to do the show. We'll be doing it again next year. Stay tuned for the exact time of our Super Bowl edition show. Me, Matt, Ralph, and Andy Lang. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you all in 9 days or so. I'm going to